It has been 10 years since Zombieland graced theaters, and I am so excited that now we finally get to talk about the sequel, Zombieland Double Tap, in theaters on October 18th. I am Terry Schwartz, and I am joined by the incredible cast and director behind Zombieland. Of course, we have back Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, Jesse Eisenberg, and Abigail Breslin, and director Ruben Fleischer. But then joining us as well, Rosario Dawson and Zoe Deutsch. Welcome, guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have an audience. I feel like we should have an audience for that great introduction.
We'll clap for ourselves.
We'll clap for ourselves, of course. I'm Terry Schwartz from IGN, and I was talking with Ruben about this before we started going. It has been a decade. I saw this movie in theaters, and it came out at a time when, like, obviously zombie movies were a big part of the pop culture, and zombies were, but this was always about more than zombies. It was about family, it was about humor, and I love that it has kind of just remained in the zeitgeist since and grown this cult following since. So I wanted to ask you guys, what did it take? Like, why now? Why Zombieland Double Tap a decade later? Ruben or any of our returning cast? What do you think? Why was now the time?
I think we all had so much fun making the first one. We were all excited about the idea of doing another one, but it was a question of just getting a story that was worth telling, and that sometimes takes a little bit longer than you would want it to. So we worked really hard to get a script that we were all really excited about, and then at that point it was just a matter of like getting one's schedules together.
Now, you guys have this incredible, like, dysfunctional family dynamic in the movie, and I'm wondering, did you guys stay in touch over the years? Like, did that endure beyond the screen?
No. In fact, I remember, like, when I saw you, I was like, I know.
But which one is it?
I couldn't think. And then reintroduced myself to Jesse, who I did remember because I've been following his career.
Yeah. Too closely.
A little too close.
Yeah.
He thought I was like working for production.
PA, yeah.
He was like, yeah, you can take my water. It's good.
I mean, I know, like, for the IGN audience, this movie has remained such a classic for them, and there's just been so much hype around this movie coming back and getting you guys back together. Did the characters stay with you at all, or what was it like getting back into the characters of Tallahassee, Wichita, Columbus, and Little Rock again 10 years later, 10-ish years later?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was great about, like, the first one is that Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick wrote this amazing script, and they also allowed us with Ruben to, like, bring our own senses of humor to it. So, like, the characters stayed with us in a way, partly because we became them and we made the characters kind of into, like, versions of us. And that's the answer I have.
And I will speak for everyone here saying that we know that there's a tremendous the fans are very passionate about this movie, so we didn't want to make something that was going to be like filler, if you will.
Yeah.
So, we're all very
Also because
proud
your
of
cheeks
this.
look good just as they are.
Yeah.
You didn't need the lift, you
No.
know? We don't want to make fillers. We want to make a movie.
No, you're totally right.
You know?
An important distinction.
We didn't do the filler.
No, we didn't do
Right,
the
no.
filler.
That was your last minute idea because I had the filler in.
You had the filler and we dissolved it.
Quick remove.
Yeah.
I laughed, but I honestly just got the joke. Like,
That was really sweet to just laugh.
Now, obviously, a big part of the first movie was it kind of feels like these are the last 4 humans on Earth finding each other and becoming this family. But obviously, they are not the last humans on Earth. And 10 years later, we meet some new friends to the family as well in Nevada and Madison. Now, Ruben, when you were expanding the world of Zombieland and saying, okay, there are going to be other survivors out there, what were you looking to bring in the new characters? Because I feel like these 4 kind of serve as like different archetypes of the zombie apocalypse that we would kind of expect to meet in different versions of characters. So what was it important about bringing in Nevada and Madison?
Well, I think distinctive comic voices were the key. I think what's so great about this cast is each character is so their own person. And so in adding anyone to the mix, we wanted to make sure that they also had fully realized personas. And so Nevada, who we meet at the Hound Dog Hotel. Why don't you talk about, I feel like I'm doing too much of the talking. Why don't you guys talk about your characters and how you...
Oh, I got questions for Rosario and Zoe. They're coming up.
Well, you get introduced first, which I think is really fun, as because you're going 10 years in, you're expecting they become more kind of almost rugged in their sort of approach to this world and really settled in, and then you meet your character, which really doesn't.
She's all about the subtlety.
Yeah,
Madison.
How did she survive so long?
Her nails are weapons. And I still, by the way, you guys have.
You kept the nails.
I just fell in love with them. I know that they're not the best, but I love them.
They're actually honestly amazing. I kind of want them.
I got fake nails for Madison, and I can't let her go. I really love the whole experience.
You're here for
and the
10
nails.
years from now, right? When we come back for,
Oh, yeah.
Zombieland 3 Limber Up.
Yeah, no, yeah, Madison is Madison forever. I got to live out all of my Valley Girl fantasies. I'm born and raised in the Valley, so I've been preparing for this part for 24 years. That accent is deep within me. So yeah.
Well, I was saying to you beforehand, like, I love Madison because she just feels like a complete contradiction to every single one of Columbus's rules. Like, she just seems like she's defying all odds, and yet here she is, and she's surviving, and I found that just absolutely hilarious and unexpected, too, because the first one obviously is very much about, like, we understand why these 5 have survived. Madison defies all logic of the zombie apocalypse.
She's a very positive person. She can always find a yes to your no. She just is a very positive creature. I don't know how she survived, but allegedly it was in a pinkberry freezer. So
as you do. But then Rosario, for Nevada, like, we know from the first trailer that one of the jokes of this movie is that we meet 4 new characters, Nevada being one of them, where they're like basically the same but different versions of our core 4. But I feel like Nevada, she's more than just, another badass Wichita. She's a much more well-rounded character, as you're saying. So what can you kind of say about, like, what sets her apart within the story?
I mean, I think she's definitely a survivor, and you see her independence and her power. But I kind of, this is one of the reasons why I think I like the Madison's character so much when I read the script, is because as a fan of the story and the original film, your mascara and the first one was like, why can't you? It was so intense and so incredible. And it was like, why don't we see more zombies being killed in high fashion? And so I was just really stoked that my character also got to have, again, not just about surviving, but figuring out a way to really thrive in this new space. And you meet her, and she's got her whole steez and her whole her passion. She's surrounded by her passion and her love, and she's just when she meets these folks, I think she finds a lot of camaraderie of people who are also finding a way to make a home and a life in this new crazy world.
Now, she's also a bit of an Elvis fan, and I know we don't want to talk too much about this, but obviously, like, the Zombieland movies are a bit of road movies, and one of the fun things is you guys have this whole, like, Graceland set. And this, so first of all, talk a bit about why Graceland. Did it just seem right? But then also talk about, like, how fun it must have been to shoot in some of those, like, Elvis shrine sets that you were playing. I think pretty much everyone was in those sets, if I'm not mistaken.
not I.
Yeah, I think Graceland, it's established at the beginning of the movie that Tallahassee is a huge Elvis fan, and he's always wanted to take Little Rock, who's like his surrogate daughter, to Graceland. And so when she goes off on her own with her newfound rocker boyfriend, they go to Graceland as sort of a pilgrimage, and these guys follow the breadcrumbs to go find her.
Now, knowing, Jesse, what you said about how you guys were able to bring some of yourselves to your characters in the first movie, when you guys were all working on the sequel, did you have your own ideas of, like, how these characters would have evolved in a decade that you got to bring to it, or was it all pretty much in the script for where we pick up with each of them?
Well, they wrote like a dozen scripts over the course of 10 years, and like we were waiting for it to like be great enough to do it. And so like the characters were like aging in those various drafts because time just naturally was passing. So by the time we did it, we had no choice but to be 10 years older because that's how much time had passed.
But that is true. It took. They finally had to get back to Paul and Rhett before those guys really cracked the code.
But in terms of kind of like where they are in their lives, you know, obviously now we have Little Rock. She's grown up. She's ready to have a boyfriend and kind of get beyond the family dynamic. We have Wichita and Columbus. Like they've been together for a decade. What comes next with that? Like, did you guys have your own ideas of where they would be mentally after kind of being together just themselves for 10 years?
I think after reading so many drafts, as Jesse said, we had a lot of ideas of where they might go or what they could be doing. It was sort of like handed to us on a yearly basis until it finally made sense. Like, oh, this does sort of, you know, the fact that they have settled down somewhere, are living in a house, but still sort of bursting at the seams to still have kind of a life experience outside of this just one safe place that they found, made a lot of sense.
And I'm curious for you too, Abigail. Like you obviously everyone grew 10 years, but you really did go from kind of like the child in the first movie to now you're an adult. What was interesting about coming back to Little Rock for you now that you are an adult?
Well, what's so surprising is that everybody was so surprised that I had aged. They were like, why does Abigail look so different in the poster? And everybody else looks the same. And I'm like, I went through puberty. It's a natural thing that happens. You can Google it all. No, but it felt really interesting to me because I went through that phase in my life not that long before we filmed it, probably, of wanting to be like alone, and I was like, I don't really know what it is.
It was said in
the like I'm my own person.
Yeah. Like I had that moment already, so it felt very much like it felt very true to what I was at that point in my life. I mean, now at 23, I'm not that angsty. But I did just talk to Jesse about having a crying fit last night, so maybe I am still.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I'm going to be 31 in a month, and I had a crying fit like last week.
Call me.
Yeah, you know. We'll talk about it.
Well, next time, see, everything
You guys
comes
want to
out.
know crying fits? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Now, obviously, the characters aren't the only ones who have evolved. The zombies have evolved too. Jesse, Ruben, do you guys want to take kind of explaining how the zombies have changed?
Sure, I mean, as an expert on the whole thing.
Take the reins.
Right.
We always throw it to him.
Yeah. What do you know about zombies? Anybody have any questions? Yeah, right. So, like in the future, and this is now. I mean, which is now. The characters have like designated these different names for zombies based on the way they present themselves. That's a very like modern way of putting it, I guess. So, like, there's the Homer, which is like the kind of very stupid zombie, which is very easy to kill. He's kind of like makes himself a target. There's the Hawking, which is like this brilliant, very crafty zombie. It's really funny. Like in the opening of the movie, like we introduce these zombies, and they're really clever like scenes about how these zombies now interact with the world. And then the other one, Ruben. Ninja, yes.
And then the T-800 is the big threat. That's kind of like the thing that Tallahassee, who's the world's greatest zombie killer, and has almost gotten bored with having to kill zombies because they no longer present a challenge. This T-800 is like harder to kill, more relentless, and there's a whole swarm of them. And so Tallahassee has met his match.
Oh my goodness. Now, I would need to applaud that too a little bit. You guys have it down pat. Yeah. I do want to talk a little bit about the comedy though, because I'm curious, like, it seems like the fight scenes and everything obviously very choreographed, but how much room for like improv is there? Or, you know, I imagine if I was shooting against Zoe, like I would not be able to keep a straight face.
Zoe was impossible.
That was very difficult. Yeah.
Zoe was impossible for all of us.
So funny.
She's so funny.
Yeah. But everybody's so funny is the great thing. I mean, it's like
But especially Zoe.
Yeah, wait, I'm sorry. Everyone?
Ruben.
I didn't know that.
No, but every day it was like we would just try and make it the funniest we could, and so there was tons of improv and just when you have people like all these people who are just so incredibly funny, just every day, it was amazing.
I have to say one of my favorite things was watching everyone throw out lines for each other. It was not so much people just improvising on their own. It was just going, hey, there's this beat here, let's like throw something at it, and everyone just going into that person's character and going, this is what I would say if I was improvising. That was pretty funny to watch you be each other.
Yeah, including these two actors who are not here, Thomas Middleditch and Luke Wilson, who are just brilliant in the movie. They play like doppelgangers of What Do You Mean? And they're just brilliant. And that was like a day of improv essentially, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was also great because sometimes something wasn't working or, just didn't feel right. And it's like, Jesse's written 4 phenomenal plays.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen them all in New York. And,
Oh, did I? I've only seen 2.
it'd be like, you only seen 2?
I've only seen 2. You just have to
I've
brag
seen
all
every single one.
most supportive person in the world. I'm half supported.
Gene, you're a half supporter, and genius writing.
Yeah.
So, something wasn't working, I just go, Jesse, what do you think? He just
Jesse's
put his
always writing
mind
for
to
it.
it and come up with something
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know you're always writing for everybody. Like I don't know how your brain does it. You're always punching up everything all the time, and
don't
so
know
smart
either.
and kind.
It's incredible. Plus, you know everything about zombies.
Yeah, and all the zombie research.
Jesse, will you marry us?
Well, I'm curious. I feel like I know the answer to this now, and it's Jesse knows all of them. But I wonder how many of the rules do you guys remember when you're making this movie? Like, do you get asked this on the street? Like, do you remember what rule number 18 was for Zombieland? But I
Oh,
feel
that
like
would only be you, I would have.
Yeah, oh, he knows.
Do people ask you that?
No, not like
Rule
people
number
know.
18.
People know. But there
beware
was,
of toilets.
is that 18?
Beware bathrooms.
You
No, I'm
love
kidding, I
that
don't
one
know.
so
Yeah.
much.
That's my
definitely
favorite
is one
one.
of them.
You don't want to get surprised in a bathroom.
Right.
No, it would be awesome.
No, you're in the
Nobody
middle of
gets
your
surprised in a
business.
bathroom?
You don't want to get surprised in a bathroom by a zombie.
Yeah, I get,
That's
I
the
get it,
worst
but like,
place.
you mention it like a lot. Like a lot.
Huh?
You mention it like a lot.
He does bring it up a lot.
You mention it a lot.
okay,
That's
I'm
my
changing.
favorite one.
I'm changing my subtitle for the proposed third Zombieland 3, Beware of Bathrooms.
Beware of
Beware of bathrooms. God, that
It
would
would
be.
probably be that.
Imagine Zombieland 3, Beware of Bathrooms. Like, what is this movie about?
But I'm gonna go see it. Now,
already seen it, honey.
Ruben, I will have IGN fans come after me if I don't ask you this question. So there has been a fan rumor that has been following the franchise since the first movie that we were wondering if you could set the record straight on. So the rumor is that originally when you guys were constructing the movie, you were thinking that it could be set in the Left 4 Dead universe, but that didn't end up working out. Is this, you just had a look on your face where you're like, no, but it keeps coming up in our comments. We see it on Reddit and stuff we wanted to see.
Is that a video game?
It is a video
Yeah,
game.
definitely a rumor. I've never heard that before.
Okay.
Left 4
Well,
Dead?
good.
What's that
Good. We
mean?
get to set the record straight. We
Yeah.
just kept seeing it coming up. I was like, I need to.
Kind of
But
an anticlimactic.
well, all right. Then I will leave it on an up note
Little
because this is my fan
anti-climax
question,
question. Oh, one
as
more.
opposed
Okay,
to like
good.
all of these other fan questions that I've been asking. It took us 10 years to get to the point that we get Zombieland Double Tap. I'm so excited. I know our fans are so excited. Do you think there's a world in which you guys would come back together for a Zombieland 3 Beware of Bathrooms? Do you see that in the future if it's like the right script, the right story for these characters?
I don't know.
You'll all be married to Jesse by then.
Yeah, I
so.
know.
We all did propose
I'll
to
probably
Jesse
be exhausted,
today.
but
We'll be exhausted.
I suppose post-matrimonial third one, yeah, maybe.
he's still in the honeymoon phase. Yeah. Guess it'll take me a while to get around to it.
We'll see where we're at in 10 years.
All right. Well, we'll see you then. It's such a pleasure chatting with you all today. Of
Good
course.
chatting with
oh,
you.
you as
Thank
well.
you.
Of course, Zombieland Double Tap is out in theaters on October 18th. But before we let you go, let's take a look at that Red Band trailer one more time.
It's been 10 years since the zombie apocalypse.
Oh my God, we're back again.
And this dysfunctional family
Merry Christmas!
Do you know what I would like?
I don't give a fuck what you like.
has survived by using their wits
Please forgive me! It's fake fur!
and by following the rules.
Rules are for pussies, nothing personal.
How could that not be personal? That's like my whole thing.
Yeah, you're right, it was personal.
On October 18,
What made you do it? And don't say the script. Can this be just between us? Drugs cost money.
Didn't see that coming, right?
New kind of zombies, stronger, faster, better adapted to the hunt.
They're much more afraid of us than we are of them.
You'll be the first to die, but I like your enthusiasm.
You might die.
Yeah, thank you for your sacrifice.
from the director of Venom
Need a ride?
Oh, yeah.
and writers of Deadpool.
Casablanca.
Oh, God.
Well, I think I would have made a damn fine president.
I think those cigars were left over from the Clinton administration.
Academy Award nominee Woody Harrelson.
Let's kick some dick.
Academy Award nominee Jesse Eisenberg.
Right now?
Right now. Academy Award nominee Abigail Breslin.
You don't have weed, do you?
Boom! And Academy Award winner Emma Stone.
What the fuck?
Zombieland Double Tap.
Time to nut up or shut up. That saying's very 2009.